Welcome back, Focus Learners, to another explainer. Today, we are absolutely diving deep into the KJ annual licensing structure. Understanding how a platform actually prices its services gives us this really brilliant window into how they deliver value. So we're going to explore exactly how these specific tiers and policies directly map to your company's growth.
It really all begins with this fundamental challenge, right? How do you price centralized security visibility as your business scales? It is a fantastic question to ponder. Usually, we just look at software pricing as this frustrating line item cost. But today, I want to show you how Kjer's structure literally turns pricing into a true enabler of organizational growth. Because let's face it, as your complexity increases, the way you pay for your security absolutely needs to adapt alongside it. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be covering the security control plane, scaling your security tiers, pricing and cost efficiency, strict licensing policies explained, and finally, finding your strategic fit.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the security control plane. Before we talk price tags, let's define what value is actually being delivered here. Directly from the source material, Kjer acts as a security control plane for mixed fleets, providing centralized visibility and orchestration across Windows, Linux, and macOS environments. I really want you to focus on those key words: visibility, orchestration, and mixed fleets. You see, you aren't just buying some basic antivirus for one type of device. What you're getting is a unified bird's-eye view and management system for your entire diverse operating system ecosystem. So, the absolutely crucial point to take away is that Kjer replaces fragmented workflows and manual tool installation. And what does that actually mean for you day to day? Well, you are essentially buying compliance abstraction. Instead of dealing with the manual, fragmented chaos of patching together totally different workflows and tools for your Macs, your Windows PCs, and your Linux machines individually, you get a single unified control plane that handles the whole shebang. It's really about buying back your team's valuable time. Moving right along to Section 2, scaling your security tiers. Now, what is really interesting about this breakdown is how clearly it defines the endpoint thresholds. You can actually track a journey from startup to enterprise right here. The solo tier is built for small businesses and startups with up to 25 endpoints. Then the team tier kicks in for growing organizations up to 100 endpoints. Next up is the scale tier, handling mid-market organizations up to 500 endpoints. After that, we step into totally custom territory with enterprise for 501 to 1,000 endpoints. And finally, the MSP tier for managed service providers who are dealing with massive multi-tenant setups. The beauty of this entire design is that you are always paying for a platform sized exactly to your environment. This structure allows your business to scale organically. Think about it. You can seamlessly transition from protecting a single small office on the solo tier all the way up to running full multi-tenant operations on the MSP tier, and you do it without fundamentally changing your security paradigm or having to learn a totally new system from scratch. All right, let's get into the numbers. Section 3. Pricing and cost efficiency. Let's unpack the economics here. We have flat annual costs and their monthly equivalents. So low is $3,500 a year, which breaks down to roughly $292 a month. The team tier sits at $12,500 annually, or about $1,042 a month. And the scale tier is $55,000 a year, which is equivalent to around $4,583 monthly. What's brilliant here is the predictability. Thanks to this annual licensing structure, you are looking at locked-in, predictable operational expenses rather than wildly fluctuating monthly security bills that give your finance team a headache. And this just brilliantly illustrates the built-in economies of scale. Watch how the effective cost per endpoint actually drops as your deployment grows. We start at a cost of $140 per endpoint on the solo tier. That drops down to $125 on the team tier and decreases yet again to $110 on the scale tier. So as you protect more assets and commit to a larger environment, your unit cost is literally going down. Let's highlight this specific number right here for a second, $110. By the time your organization reaches that 500 endpoint scale tier, your cost has dropped significantly down to just $110 per endpoint. To put that into perspective, it really proves that the annual licensing model is explicitly designed to reward your organizational growth and your larger deployments. Moving to Section 4, strict licensing policies explained. We definitely need to understand the rules of the road. Now, the primary goal of these policies is maintaining the integrity of the orchestration layer. I really want to reassure you that these aren't just arbitrary, restrictive rules designed to make procurement a nightmare. No, they are absolutely vital guardrails designed to ensure accurate compliance reporting and to maintain the overall system integrity across your entire fleet. So, let's firmly establish these 4 mandatory policies. First up, 1 active license. Your organization is limited to exactly 1 active Kjer license, period. Second, capacity restrictions. And you guys, this is a big one to remember. You cannot simply stack multiple lower-tier licenses to expand your capacity. It doesn't work that way. Third, mandatory upgrades. If you exceed your current endpoint allocation, you are required to upgrade to the next tier to maintain service continuity. And finally, customization. For enterprise and MSPs, the licensing is entirely custom based on your specific deployment size, infrastructure, and support scope. And that brings us to our final section, Section 5, Finding Your Strategic Fit. Let's map this to your reality. Let's compare our first 2 tiers. The solo tier provides the complete platform, for sure, but it's positioned perfectly for small organizations that are just establishing their centralized security operations, really just getting those foundational needs met. On the other hand, the team tier steps it up quite a bit. It's specifically designed for growing businesses that require broader visibility, deeper collaboration, and vital automation demands as their headcount and their device count expands. Now contrast that with the heavier hitters. The scale tier is built for mature IT and security teams managing much larger, complex environments, specifically focusing on advanced policy automation and API requirements. Meanwhile, the enterprise and MSP tiers, well, they step completely out of the box. They offer highly customized, tailored deployments, specific service agreements, bespoke onboarding, complex integrations, and full multi-tenant management, all from a single console. So, what does this all mean for you? I'll leave you with this pivotal question to conclude our explainer today. Which tier aligns with your organization's security maturity right now? I highly challenge you to evaluate your own growth trajectory, take a hard look at the visual data and the policies we've covered, and determine exactly where your security control plane needs to be to keep your organization protected and compliant moving forward. Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive. Stay focused and keep learning.